Welcome back to Versus Games and the League Cup here in Orlando, Florida. Brendan Nussear, Joe Carlino here. Brendan, after that round one, what more can we see, man?
At this point, it's all up in the air. There was so much flying around in round one. It was incredible seeing those two players being able to dish out so much damage against each other. The weather wars, oh my goodness, it was just insane.
Absolutely. Brendan Nussear, I'm sorry, I call Brendan Nussear like he's a player or something like that. Yes. Well, I mean, you are a player, are you not?
I mean, yeah, I'm a player. I'm a player in many things, but I'll play Pokemon today, but not today.
This is a good point right there. But honestly, after that round one, now we get into round two, and we have 3 more rounds of Swiss before a top 8 cup. We have confirmed that, ladies and gentlemen. We have 17 players here today, so that means 5 rounds of Swiss into a top 8 cut. 18. Sorry, my bad.
18. One extra player. Not bad. 19. Oh my goodness.
Here. I'll make it 19. I'll add my Switch. I'll take a round 1 loss.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know, I didn't bring my Switch today. I had to bring all my plushes here today to have fun.
Oh yeah. I mean, you brought Screamtail and you brought Pelipper. A nice little touch to the Pelipper that you got to receive for Patrick Connors winning NAIC with Pelipper.
Exactly. I mean, this Pelipper in particular actually won it after winning that Premier Challenge at Atlanta. It was at the prize booth. I was like, oh my goodness, I gotta get this for the Spirit of Florida VGC.
For the Spirit of Florida. And you're even modeling our Florida VGC shirt.
Oh, yeah.
I noticed that recently, and I was just like, ladies and gentlemen, this is a prime shirt to get to support the greatest VGC state. We are better than the New Jersey area, and the New York area, and the Massachusetts area, the DMV, the Texas. Like, it's Florida, man. Florida is where the VGC scene is.
Florida is just so dominant with so many strong players. I mean, you got our reigning NAIC champion Patrick Connors, but even then, some of the other players that you've seen from earlier in our top 16, they have been so consistent every season. They just dominate at all the regionals and whatnot. It is just incredible because they bring it back home and for the state of Florida to represent.
Well, I mean, maybe not Hunter Braun though. Maybe not Hunter. I hear like He's like a mystery. He's like the blind bandit. He shows up, then he disappears without a trace, and we don't know where he is.
It doesn't matter at this point. He's got a Worlds invite in his bag, so he is ready to go and win more battles at that rate.
He might be ready to win some battles, but we'll see how he does at the World Championships in August in Anaheim.
Exactly.
I was about to say San Francisco for some reason. I'm flip-flopping San Francisco and Anaheim for the World Championships. And honestly, I mean, there's a possibility that we make it to San Francisco next year, Brendan.
Oh, I would love to see that. I would love to see my face on the list of my name on the list of players in that top 75. That would be beautiful to see.
It'd be nice for myself to be on that list as well, but that's next season. Right now, we're still in this season, and we have round 2. We've got Jonathan Martin versus Riley Wilcox for our round 2 matchup here in Oviedo.
Exactly. I'm excited to see this next battle. I battled both these players before many times, and they are such talented players. We got Jonathan. He's bringing the same team that Andrew had in round 1.
Wow, really? Ooh, look at that. Yeah, you're right. Jonathan Martin has the same team as Andrew Figueres with that Calyrex Ice Rider Kyogre team, but Riley Wilcox, you know, we just spoke about it with that Pokemon profile on that Swordfish combination. Checking my notes here. Yeah, that's a Swordfish.
Yeah, he's got the Swordfish combo. It's a pretty balanced team. You know, you got your Rillaboom, your Incineroar, your Tornadus for a little extra speed, and then you got your extra water damage with your Urshifu Rapid Strike right now. So Riley's been pretty prepared for this battle right now. I know he's been very passionate about Swordfish. I remember I was talking to him before Milwaukee Regionals, and he's been talking about even over a month in advance. He was like, yes, Swordfish all the way.
And we were looking at the teams here. Once again, Jonathan Martin as Andrew Figueres ran in round number 1. He is running the exact same team of that Urshifu Rapid Strike, Amoonguss, Grass, Terra, Never Melt Ice, Seed Bomb, Calyrex Ice Rider, which in a matchup like this, it actually plays into Jonathan's favor, having that Seed Bomb over something like a high horsepower.
Exactly, and that C-Bomb's going to do really big damage, especially into that Kyogre slot. But he will still have to be careful, though, because he did sacrifice the Common Clear Amulet for Never Melt Ice. So, if in the chance that Riley brings his his Incineroar with the Intimidate, that's going to be the Calyrex not doing as much damage as it normally would be able to do. Even then, Riley also has the Parting Shot, so it's going to be pretty tricky. You might not even see Calyrex in this battle.
Might not, but we also look at Riley's team. As we said, Iron Head is the move of choice on the Zacian. In battle, that Iron Head will turn into Behemoth Blade. So Jonathan has to remember that if he sees Behemoth Blade come out, that means it is Iron Head on the team sheet. You cannot select Behemoth Blade in a team sheet submission. It automatically changes it to Iron Head Behemoth Blade in battle itself. And Riley rounds it up with that Intimidate Incineroar, everybody's favorite Pokemon. We all love the cat, especially, I believe we're going to be getting an Incineroar in a couple of weeks at NAIC, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we're going to be getting Glix winning, or the EUIC winning Incineroar.
And even better, it's going to have that partner ribbon, so when you say it, it'll say, "Go, Wolf's Incineroar!" And then Wolf will be like, "Wolf's what?"
Exactly. He's like, oh no, he knew this was happening.
he is probably in DEF CON 1 somewhere in the DMV area right now. But he actually just released his Toronto video today, 4.5 hours long.
Oh my goodness, that's going to take me forever to watch that on the car rides to and from school.
But it'll be worth it,
exactly,
as we are going to get into game 1 of round 2. Jonathan Martin versus Riley Wilcox. Who is going to advance to 2-0? Riley is going to lead off with his Incineroar and the Zacian, while Sora leads with the Rillaboom and the Calyrex here. So now it comes down to which Pokemon will be faster for that fake-out slot here.
At that point, we're seeing grassy terrain does set up on Jonathan's side, so we're going to be having these Pokemon probably stick around for a little while, getting their little HP recovery back. Intimidate does come in, like I mentioned before. That's going to make it a lot harder for both of Jonathan's Pokemon to do some really big damage, especially the Calyrex right away, because now he's in a position where he might have to rethink of what he wants to do.
You are right there, Brennan, and it's also important to note that on Riley's side, he does not have a Fire-type move on his Incineroar. He only has Fake Out and Knockoff for damage. Now, Knockoff will do big damage on the first turn, as it will remove the Calyrex's Never Melt Ice or the Rillaboom's Assault Vest, but after that, it will just be a base Dark-type move.
At that point, I'm thinking, Riley's going to have a hard time just being able to deal with any of Riley's Pokemon at this rate, but we do see a Protect from the Calyrex.
And it is a Behemoth Blade and a Fake Out combination into that protecting Calyrex here. So this allows Rillaboom to get a U-turn off here. Not much damage here after the Intimidate from Incineroar, but more importantly, it allows Rillaboom to switch out and reset its attack drop from that Intimidate.
That's a good position right there, especially he knows, you know what? The Rillaboom's just not going to be able to cut it for this match, this position right here. I'm going to switch him out, but not before doing a little bit of chip damage at the end of the day. And he brings in his Amoonguss now, which will probably be able to help out a lot more, being able to spore anything he wants to on Riley's side of the field at this rate. He's got to be careful, because he might also have that Rillaboom in the back.
He might have that Rillaboom in the back, Riley. But what's also important to know is that Riley's Incineroar is using the Taunt move, which would actually negate Amoonguss' Spore, Rage Powder, and Protect for the remainder of this battle, or at least as Amoonguss is on the field.
I've been seeing with Riley, he's talked about it before, he loves putting taunts on his Incineroar because it just comes in clutch into so many different positions, especially against...
And there's the taunt into the Amoonguss here. So now Amoonguss cannot go for the Spore after the taunt. But Kyogre did take big damage from that Behemoth Blade, a +1 Behemoth Blade with the resist, and it still did very respectable damage.
At this position, we're going to be seeing Jonathan doesn't have Origin Pulse on his Kyogre. Instead, he has the Hydro Pump, so single target damage. It can still do big damage into any of Riley's Pokemon from this position. We'll see if Riley has his Rillaboom or his Urshifu back in the back and later on in the match right now. But it's going to be pretty tricky to see what Jonathan can do from this position in the game.
It is very possible to see what Jonathan will do to adjust here, as Riley has decided to activate his Terra Orb here. He is going to fire that Terra Orb at the Zacian, and the Zacian is not going to change its types. It is going to be a Stellar Terra type, which only helps out for the first time it clicks a move each turn. And it's going to be that Terra Fairy Play Rough at +1 Stellar Terra, and it knocks out the Kyogre.
Kyogre is knocked out. That poor Amoonguss is by himself on the field. He's already been taunted. He's not going to be able to do anything. We're going to have to see how Jonathan can adjust for that state in the game. But Terra Stellar Zacian is so uncommon to see, but it's just doing so much work for Riley right now. And it's amazing that he was able to knock out the Kyogre from that position.
You are absolutely right there, Brennan. And because Amoonguss went for the side Pollen Puff into the Kyogre, it is going to fail on this Pollen Puff here, and it's going to be a moot turn for Jonathan. Riley with a beautiful turn there.
He's been playing every turn of this battle just incredibly. It's going to make it so hard for Jonathan to be able to adjust as this stay in the game.
I think you're absolutely right there, because when we look at Riley's team, he actually does not have a ground type move. He does not have high horsepower. He does not have Stomping Tantrum. But Amoonguss still cannot use Rage Powder to negate Zacian from going for something like a Behemoth Blade into the Calyrex here.
I believe probably at this point in the game now, it might be best for maybe Jonathan to try to change things around. Maybe a good idea would be to go for a Trick Room or something like that, but we're going to see Terrestrialization from Jonathan's side into the Calyrex Ice Rider, turn it into a Grass type now.
Very impressive. The Grass Terra here on the Calyrex here, it will turn off its weakness to the Behemoth Blade here, which is going to get that Stellar Terra boost. And it's actually going into the Amoonguss here.
Ooh.
This is very...
Oh my
goodness.
That's
The
so much
damage.
damage.
And the Rillaboom goes for the drum beating into the Amoonguss here, and it does knock out because of the grassy terrain power up to any grounded type grass Pokemon move.
At that point, that's probably all he needed, because I can't imagine it wouldn't be able to knock it out without that grassy terrain. But we do see the Glacial Lens. It's just going to knock out Riley's Rillaboom straight off one-hit knockout and get that Chilling Neigh boost.
Exactly. The Calyrex now has that Chilling Neigh, but Zacian is gaining a little bit of recovery here, and in comes Gaston, which is the Incineroar once again for Riley, but Rillaboom comes back out for Jonathan. And now, here's what's important to note. The Calyrex just got its Chilling Neigh boost, but the Intimidate negates it. This Calyrex is now back at neutral for its attack stat for the remainder of this battle, as long as it does not get another knockout for the remainder of this battle.
At this point, I wouldn't be surprised we're seeing, with the Incineroar still around, I might just go all out with maybe more parting shots or whatnot, just try to cripple down that Calyrex as much as possible from the stay in the game. Goes for a fake out, though, into the Incineroar just to make sure that it can't act on this turn.
And we get the Rocky Helmet damage too. The Zacian going for that Behemoth Blade into the Calyrex just to get a little bit of damage in there. Doing well over 50% even without the Stellar Terra boost there. But Calyrex ends up going for that Trick Room here. Very important for the remainder of this battle that Calyrex is in its element here with the Dimensions Twisted.
It's also helping right now with that. The Behemoth Blade just barely did a little over half.
But that's massive right there too, Brendan. The grassy terrain has just ended, so now Rillaboom cannot get the Grassy Glide priority here, which might actually help Jonathan get the KO on one of these two Pokemon here.
Exactly. We're going to see a Glacial Lens. We'll see how much damage he's able to do. Not a whole lot to either Pokemon. And then we're going to see the Parting Shot going straight into the Calyrex. Now it's going to be a -1 attack, so it's going to be a lot harder from this point onwards to be able to do any more damage.
We do see Incineroar switch out via the Parting Shot here, and in comes Lil Guppy, which ends up being his Kyogre.
Shiny Kyogre, that is impressive right there.
And a Wood Hammer coming out. This is not going to do much because of the grassy terrain, and it will not knock out the Zacian, but Zacian going for that Behemoth Blade into the Rillaboom here. Very interesting, but it does get the KO because it is still +1. So now, even though the Calyrex is in Trick Room, it is all that is left for Jonathan here. It's still a possibility, but it's very light.
At this point, I just want to see how much, if he chooses to go for it, the C-Bomb goes into that Kyogre. If he chooses to go for a move like that, because, I mean, that could really help Riley, or for Jonathan later on to maybe a game 2. See how much C-Bomb can do and then can adjust accordingly with that knowledge.
And we do see a switch out here. Incineroar coming right back out onto the field, getting an Intimidate off here. Now this Calyrex, it is -1 on its attack. So this is going to be a resisted hit, and it's going to do just negligible amounts of damage into the Kyogre. In comes that Ice Beam, and it does enough to KO with a critical hit to boot.
That is so much damage at this endgame scenario right now. Jonathan, he might have lost his battle, but you know what? He can still pick it up in game 2. I have no doubt about that. He's such an incredible player. We're going to see what he can do with that knowledge that he's picked up from game 1.
Now, see, that was impressive by Riley in game 1. Now, we did talk about it with Zacian before round 2 started, that you don't really see many Zacians lead in battles. You normally see it come out on the back because of that Intrepid Sword getting that +1 to its attack only on the first time it is used. And Riley correctly identified that Zacian was in a prime position in this battle, at least for game 1. I don't know how games 2 or 3 will go, but he saw in game 1, he saw an opportunity and he took it.
Exactly. With no Intimidates or anything like that to lower the attack on Jonathan's side of the field, he's just thinking, you know what, I'm just going to go all out. I have Zacian. I can just go for +1 right away, get the Stellar Terra boost, and I'm just going to knock out as many Pokemon as I can with it.
You are absolutely right there that Riley just decided, hey, let's get those attacks on. And the play rough doing as much damage as it did, getting that one-hit knockout on the Kyogre and negating the Pollen Puff from Jonathan, that really put Jonathan in a bad position. And give him credit, he managed to fight back as well as he could.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Jonathan is an incredible player. He can make those kinds of adjustments to make it so we can possibly take this to game 3 and then just to be able to close out the whole set.
You are absolutely right here on Riley's side.
Got a surprise guest from Andrew right now, who also brought the same team as Jonathan. I'm going to see what he thinks.
All right, so the key in this matchup for Jonathan is he needs to bring the Urshifu. Cannot be intimidated, and it one-shots most things on this team in range. That's an adjustment I'm hoping to see. I don't love this lead, just because you can't really touch the Zacian at all with Rillaboom or Ice Rider, so you need to be leveraging the Kyogres and the Urshifu in order to do something to Zacian, because the problem we saw last game, Zacian took like a grand total of like 2 damage within the first 5 turns, and that's just not doing anything for Sora. It clicked Behemoth Blade, Play Rough into half his team, and he just did not respect it enough. So what Sora needs to do is he needs to say, okay, wait, no, I saw what's in the back, and it's not very good. So he left the Urshifu at home again. He's going to go for fast mode, it looks like, with the Iron Jugulus in the back. And I think his goal here is to probably kill the Torn to make it so that Riley can't put up a Tailwind of his own. Once Sora's in Tailwind, he might be able to do something with Kyogre. However, because you don't have Urshifu, you have no way to stop him from just protecting through Tailwind. And once he gets past the Tailwind, it's very difficult for Sora to win the game. Anyway, I'll let you guys do your job. I just wanted to give my opinion on the matchup.
Well, thank you, Andrew.
Well, thank you for the scouting report. Andrew Figueres with the scouting report there, Brendan. That is actually something very fun that you can do with locals. You can have a scouting report.
Yeah, you know what? Let's go all out. Let's have a little fun. Scout, do what you want to do.
And we do see Zacian going for the Protect there. Rillaboom going for a Fake Out into the Zacian slot. It will not work, but this Calyrex ended up going for that Glacial Lance. This is a -1 Glacial Lance into this Incineroar through the resisted hit, and this is going to do
oh my goodness,
damage. It did damage. It did damage.
You know what? I mean, that's all you can do. Just try to do any damage you know. But we're going to see probably some adjustments from Jonathan right now because his poor Calyrex just won't be able to cut it right now. Thinking about going for thinking about going for the Trick Room right now. I'm thinking, oh, that actually might be really helpful with so many Riley's Pokemon, especially that Zacian being so fast.
And we see
turn
the
tables.
And we see the Terrestrial Orb activated on Riley's side once again, going into
boy.
that Zacian, and that Stellar Terra has once again been activated on Riley Wilcox's side. This Zacian has just powered up even further than it already was.
That Zacian now with the +1 and the Stellar Boost is going to be knocking out any Pokemon that it feels like at this point. We do see the Calyrex is going for that Terra Grass. Mainly, I would imagine, just to make sure that it's not weak to that Behemoth Blade from that opposing Zacian.
And we do see the Fake Out come out into the Calyrex slot here. Very important to get that Calyrex faked out on this turn. Behemoth Blade +1 Stellar Terror going into the Rillaboom here. And it was on 1 HP!
Oh my
On
goodness!
1 HP! The Invisible Focus says!
1 HP!
But it died to the... Oh, I didn't even notice it. It died to the Rocky Helmet!
No!
Oh, no! What a turn there!
And poor Rillaboom, it didn't even matter!
Oh, no! The poor Rillaboom. It faints into the Rocky Helmet recoil, but the fact that it lived that Behemoth Blade.
You know what? It is a real trooper right there. It was able to take that +1 Behemoth Blade with the Stellar Terra boost, 1 HP. That I salute to that Rillaboom for being a real trooper for that one battle.
That is absolutely incredible right there. And we do see Kyogre switch out here, bringing out that Amoonguss for Jonathan's side. The Amoonguss is now onto the field as Calyrex going for a Protect here, trying to call any damage on Riley's side, and we do see a Play Rough, and it's a Play Rough though, but it goes into the Amoonguss here. This is resisted. +1 with the Stellar Terra gets the Rocky Helmet damage, but Incineroar going for a taunt into the Calyrex here. Very interesting decision there. Very nice play.
Taunt being blocked by the Protect, but at the end of the day, it's still going to be very scary. I'm thinking at this point, at this range, you know, that Incineroar can just go for it again into either of Jonathan's Pokemon, because especially that Amoonguss, that all it can really attack with is the Pollen Puff, but it's just going to go for a Rage Powder instead. We're going to see
the Behemoth Blade come out at +1. This did do big damage, and it will knock out the Amoonguss here at +1 with the Behemoth Blade. What did Riley go for? If he went for a taunt here into this Calyrex, it is a taunt!
Just go for
it's the taunt again, and Calyrex is taunted. It cannot go for that Trick Room.
No Trick Room for here today. None for Calyrex.
Oh my God, what a battle here, ladies and gentlemen. Riley Wilcox is piloting his team to perfection right now.
It's just so incredible. I mean, Jonathan, he still has his 2 restricted Pokemon on the field right now. That Calyrex may have lost a few of its attacks right now, especially the -1 from the Intimidates and everything, but we're just going to see a
super effective Water Spout, but because it was in the yellow HP, the knockoff comes out and knocks out the Kyogre! Kyogre is down!
Kyogre is down. That poor Calyrex is all that is left. He is trying his hardest in this battle right now. He's going for another Glacial Lens. That's all he can do after that taunt, but it's just such little damage into Riley's Pokemon at this stage in the game.
I also want to make note of it because I just saw it now. That was a Splash Play Kyogre.
Yeah, that is Splash Play. You know, he's trying his hardest, but you know, he just couldn't do it in this battle. But you know what's okay, because Jonathan may forfeit, but no doubt in my mind that this probably won't be his only loss. Oh, boy. Looks like we got
that was an absolute monster performance by Riley Wilcox there. A clean 4-0 in Game 2 to win the set 2-0 over Jonathan Martin there. What a battle by Riley.
Riley played that battle so incredibly well, being able to pilot that Zacian. I don't think he lost a Pokemon in Game 1 either. Oh, wait, no, he lost that Rillaboom.
Yeah, he lost Rillaboom to the Glacial, so it was very close to a clean 8-0 for Riley in this set. Now, that's sometimes when the matchups are favorable. We have seen that happen before in a best-of-3. That the matchups are favorable, you can win a set 2-0 the way that Riley Wilcox did. And he played it expertly, getting those taunts off properly, right on time. And also in game 2, Zacian knocking out the Amoonguss there with the Behemoth Blade allowed Riley to get that taunt off and make sure that Trick Room could not go up.
At that point, it was just really tough for Jonathan to make any kind of recovery. Riley played it so well. He is probably the best Swordfish player that I know, especially in the CFL region right now.
Oh, you're in a CFL. Okay, so we're
CFL.
playing we're playing Canadian football now. We're in Florida, but we're going to Canada.
All right, I'm down to go to Canada. We can dominate so many of our U.S. regionals. So we'll take it back, bring it back to Toronto. We'll bring it back to Vancouver. We're going to go all the way, and we're going to dominate all the world if we can. Pokemon.
Maybe we should have a Montreal regional.
Ooh, I want to see that.
Yeah, go to Quebec. Go to Quebec.
Take that. I got a buddy. We got in Winnipeg, and he tells me it's such a great city. We're gonna dominate all of Canada. We'll take it to Montreal, Winnipeg, all of it.
What was Calgary? Could go to Calgary.
Exactly.
I can't think of any in like Newfoundland though, or whatever. But getting back to Pokemon and everything, we were talking about regionals. Let's talk about this local, Brendan. Let's talk about some of our usage rates.
Yeah, I'd like to see what Pokemon we have. Ooh.
Wow, look at this. We've got the Urshifu, Rillaboom, and Incineroar as our top 3 of the top 12. But looking at other Pokemon here, there's Iron Jugulus, there is Grimmsnarl at 21% usage. Landorus Incarnate. I have yet to see a Landorus Incarnate.
It doesn't surprise me seeing that Iron Jugulus. I was talking with some of the players earlier today. I think we're going to be seeing Iron Jugulus a lot here today because a lot of people are running the same Kyogre and Calyrex Ice Rider team.
And we also do see that there is a different type of giraffe in that final spot of the non-restricted Pokemon usage, and that would be that for Farigiraf, which is still a very dominant Pokemon in Regulation I.
But actually, getting some feedback. So we had Iron Hands, Heart Flame, Ogerpont, and Raging Bolt. They all tied for last in the
usage.
So
very interesting that we have some Iron Hands usage here. A Volcarona is making an appearance potentially.
Ooh, I'd love to see that.
I mean, Volcarona can help out with access to Rage Powder, access to Quiver Dance, Flame Body for a potential burn. That can go a long way towards negating a physical attacker such as a Zacian.
Exactly. What was it? Volcarona is such a versatile Pokemon. I love to see all the different kinds of strategies people have for it. They can make it really defensive, go for Struggle Bug to maybe or take down those Calyrex Shadow Riders, maybe not do as much damage. Now we got a restricted Pokemon right now.
And we've got our pairs. We do see that Calyrex Ice Rider and Kyogre pretty popular right now, and we did just see Calyrex Ice Rider Kyogre. We saw our Kyogre and Zacian, also collectively referred to as Swordfish. We saw our Calyrex Ice Rider and Koraidon, but we have a Ho-Oh and Miraidon as one of our top pairs. That is actually really interesting to see.
I'm going to guess that a lot of people are just running this course, especially after taking inspiration from a lot of the results that we saw back at Milwaukee last weekend.
Exactly right. The Ho-Oh and Miraidon, a very good combination here. But I'm actually curious as to how these Pokemon are looking when they're not paired up. What about you, Brendan?
I mean, I've seen Miraidon. It's just so good at anything that it does. We're seeing it. Made 3rd place today. Not too shabby for Miraidon, I say so.
Not too problematic there for Miraidon being in 3rd place. We do see Kyogre leading the pack with a 47% usage rate at this local, and getting a little on the side of it. It is May. We're almost in June. I wonder if Florida players are trying to say, hurricane season is coming up.
Hurricane season is coming up. We got big rainstorms coming up ahead, and we already saw with Kyogre and Iron Jugulus right next to it. He's going to be dishing out tons of hurricanes himself.
Let's just hope they're not any major hurricanes.
No, you don't want to see anybody get hurt,
No. But looking at some of the lesser used restricted Pokemon, such as our bottom 4 of our top restricted, we do see Ho-Oh, we see Koraidon. They are tied at a 15 50% usage. We have a couple of Lunalas in the field, and we have a tie for that last restricted spot between Terapagos and Zamazenta. We have Zamazenta, so both dogs are here. But where's Calaric's Shadow Rider?
You know, I just realized that. Where's Calaric's Shadow Rider? What is that one Zamazenta paired up with if it ain't Shadow Rider today?
I am now very curious as to what that Zamazenta is paired with that is not the Pokemon that we all thought early was going to be its go-to partner in building.
You know, I do remember, I think I saw, if it was in Milwaukee, it might have been Utrecht, where I did see a player, or maybe two, with the Zamazenta and Miraidon. So it might be something like that we might see later on in today's battles.
Interesting, because you could even go Wide Guard plus Terra Electric Discharge on the Miraidon there, and that would actually be a lot of fun to try.
Ooh, I had to try that myself when I get the time for that. Between that, I know they might be able to partner up with a Kyogre, not too bad right there. We'll eliminate one of Zamazenta's weaknesses to fire right there with that Drizzle ability set up.
You are absolutely right, and we do have confirmation that we have one lone Shadow Rider in this tour. So there is one person that is running the Shadow Rider. I think I have a feeling I know who that player is.
Based on who I've been chatting with earlier, I might have an idea who that might be as well. I'm hoping to see them make it to the top cut today because I want to see what they can do with that one Shadow Rider.
It'd be nice to see Shadow Rider have its day in top cut because we've been having a good horse race right now. All we're missing is the Bugle.
Exactly.
All we're missing is the Bugle right now because we've seen a lot of horses, and actually, believe it or not, today is the Preakness for the Triple Crown. Now, unfortunately, we won't have another Triple Crown winner because the winner of the Derby is not racing today.
Nah, that's a shame, but you know what?
But we have our own horse to try to win.
We got so many Calyrex Ice Riders today. They're just so many different players. They're all so passionate about this one particular Pokemon. It does so well into the Regulation I format. Just being able to, do big damage or, change the pace of the game just by going, especially for that Trick Room.
You are absolutely right, Lunala right there. But then I'm even looking at that Ho-Oh because Ho-Oh not only is a very defensive Pokemon, it hits really hard on the physical side with moves like Brave Bird, Sacred Fire, which is an incredible move with a 50% chance to burn your opponent. So, much like Flame Body, which is a 30% chance, but you have to take damage, Sacred Fire, you do the damage, and then you just hope the coin flip works in your favor.
Oh, you know what? My coin flips have been really bad lately. I don't get those burns myself, but you know what? Sacred Fire is still such a great move to have, especially on Ho-Oh. It can do so much. It wasn't that common to see in Regulation G, but in Regulation I right now, it's such a viable partner, especially between doing big damage from two of its great attacks between Sacred Fire and Brave Bird. It does also have the option for Tailwind to support its partner Pokemon.
You are absolutely right, getting that Tailwind up there. And honestly, I did see this a couple of days ago. Somebody on the, just the regular ladder, I saw Air Cutter Ho-Oh.
Ooh, Air Cutter. That's double targets right there. You know what?
Spread damage move with a high critical hit ratio on both targets.
Man, I'd love to see that battle again someday.
I would be very interesting to see how a special Ho-Oh would work in this meta.
I had to relook at how Ho-Oh can be built for those kinds of scenarios. If it's just Air Cutter, who knows what other attacks it might have been running. It could be running Heat Wave. It might be a different kind of GU.
Well, yes, but do we have a pair of glasses that can fit Ho-Oh?
We can find some kind of spectacles for that one bird Pokemon right there.
That is a good point, Brennan. That is a very good point. There's probably a pair of spectacles that can fit Ho-Oh. Maybe even just get him a monocle. Little monocle there, just try to at least always hit the target that you want it to hit.
That's all it needs.
That's all it needs. But, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take a quick break for round 2 here at the Versus Games League Cup in Oviedo, Florida. Round 3 will be starting up very shortly, so don't go anywhere, and we will be right back.
You have a good day now.